go. Go live. Go live, it says. Hey, Wyatt, it says we're live. Let's do it. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Every day we start the show with some shocked energy news, and today is no different. This is powered by Shock, guys. Link is in the description below. Check it out, shockedenergy.com. Use promo code MANHOUR. But this is the time of year where we're doing all of our NFL draft grades, right? Barstool Sports is doing it. Mel Kiper, CBS, NBC, Tony Cowherd, or whatever the hell that guy's name is, everybody. But the best ones are right here with the Wyatt Williams. The reason why I say this is because Barstool Sports, of course, we all strive to be on Barstool Sports or ESPN, but guys, Barstool Sports literally shit the bed with these rankings. They ranked all 32 NFL teams. Wyatt, 26 A-pluses were on their draft grades. So they're saying 26 of the NFL teams literally nailed this year's draft. A+. Then there are 4 teams that they gave F and F minuses. First of all, F minus doesn't exist. F is the lowest possible grade you can get. And then they gave a C like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, Barstool Sports, we love you. We all strive to be like you. We would love to be on your be on your network at some point in time. But these rankings are flabbergasting. Yes, that is my word of the day, is flabbergasting. So to even think like you guys are fooling anybody with 26 A-pluses, I was in high school for 7 years and I didn't even get 26 A-pluses all through 7 years of high school. So, but then people are like, hey, let's flash back to 2012 when Barstool Sports gave the Seattle Seahawks an F during their NFL draft grade, right? In that particular draft, they drafted Bruce Irving, a great linebacker. Bobby Wagner, one of the best linebackers ever. And, of course, Russell Wilson. So, is Barstool Sports all what it's cracked up to be? Who knows? If you guys want true draft rankings, you're in the right spot. Man Hour Nation, buckle up for a great show tonight. Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs.
And Wyatt.
Know what's going on. Man, now what?
Yes,
After
sir.
dark, no LA. We the big spot.
singing.
No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speak scope.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. We got fresh new merch. We got Team Buck merch. We got the Beastie merch here, and we got the Nana is my favorite shirt as well. That is dropping next week, so be prepared for that. Also, probably got to get some waffle merch out there because the man, the myth, the legend himself is back, the Wyatt Williams. So let's, without further ado, let's bring that luscious locks of hair onto the show. Wyatt, what's going on today, man?
Nothing much. Just woke up this morning ready to talk about some sports. I hear Beastie has called upon myself for the NFC North draft grades, and I guess he doesn't agree with them. So it's official. Brandon Combs is delusional. If he wasn't before, he definitely is now.
Yeah. So Beastie obviously was jumping in the Facebook chat last night, or yes, I keep thinking we're doing nighttime shows, Wyatt, but yesterday morning Beastie was in that chat and he was dogging your rankings left and right, and it was it was dreadful to see because he thinks the Chicago Bears are going to be some great franchise and some great team. And Beastie, what's up, man? How are you doing this morning, buddy?
What is going on, Buck? What is going on, Man Hour Nation? What is going on, Mr. Hair? What's up, Wyatt?
The hair.
What's going on, Combsy?
Not much, man. Not much. Look, I heard your little intro, and, you know, some of the stuff I said yesterday about the Bears was said in jest, obviously.
Don't let him fool you, Wyatt.
I don't really think the Bears are going to be in second place in the division.
Whoa. Hashtag waffle. Okay, so the boys have been back together for literally 36 seconds, and Combs has already waffled. We already had a hair bet, and then Wyatt just throws his locks of hair across the room, and my soul just melted because I'm envy of his luscious blonde hair. So you are telling me, Combs, that the Chicago Bears are not going to get second place in the division?
No, look, I think the Bears they're in a rebuild, right? And, you know, that was my problem yesterday with Wyatt Six. Because Wyatt comes at things from a fan's perspective, right? Like, he doesn't come at things from a position of reality. Did the Bears have a bad draft? No. Did they build around Justin Fields per se? A little bit, but not really. What they did was they rebuilt the secondary. They started to rebuild the secondary, which they desperately needed. They started to rebuild that defense a little bit, which they definitely need to do. And then they got him some help with the kid out of Tennessee, Jones. I really like this kid. He's great in the open field. And that's kind of the theme the Bears have gone this offseason. When they went out and get Byron Pringle, when they went out and get Equinemius St. Brown, they're going for speed on the wide receiver path, and they're going for guys who are good with yards after the catch, guys who can break tackles, guys who can make you miss in the open field. And that's how they're building around Justin Fields. The Bears aren't going to be any more than a 5 to 6 win team this season, and they know that. They're kind of going with that Cubs approach from back in 2011 when Theo Epstein took over with the, hey, look, I know we're going to be bad for a couple of years, but it's going to get better. We have to rebuild this thing from the ground up. And it started with Justin Fields, and then it went into this draft. I really liked the Bears draft. I really did. I thought the Bears had a good draft, and I'm not going into this saying, oh, well, why didn't they build around Justin Fields? They didn't build around Justin Fields per se, because they did that in free agency. And what was available to them at the time that they actually got the pick, which was at 39, there wasn't that top, wide receiver or top offensive lineman that was
Sky
really
Moore was there.
And they went with the need. But they went with the need. Their need was at safety. Their need was at cornerback. Those were bigger needs than wide receiver was. And they addressed the offensive line in free agency as well.
Wyatt, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, at the time, Velus Jones was the best receiver on the board when they were picking. So I will give him that. And that's why I had that as my best pick for the Bears. But Velus is already 26. He's a rookie in the NFL, and he is 26 already. So while that was the only thing they did to build around him and give him any kind of weapon. And while Combs is correct, he's very good in the open field. He's also a great return man. He's 26. They lost Allen Robinson, who was 28, and an A-minus wide receiver who just had a shaky-ish year last year, and they replaced him with Byron Pringle, a half of a Pringles can, and Velus Jones.
You're coming at it with the this is what I'm saying. This is my whole issue with your take yesterday from the start was because you come from a place of a fan who can't get past your fandom. I mean, what did you guys do for Mr. $50 million? What weapons did you guys give him?
Oh, we got Christian Watson.
Sammy
got
Watkins?
Romeo Doubs. We got three. We picked up Sammy Watkins through the free agency. We've still got Alan Lazard, who I think is a dog. And then we drafted
Sammy Watkins
three
was
wide
just as good of a
receivers.
pickup. Sammy Watkins is just as good of a pickup as Byron Pringle was. Sammy Watkins was the same wide receiver that Byron Pringle was last year. What are you talking about? Yes, he was. He was used the same way in the Kansas City offense.
First of all, Sammy Watkins played for the Miami Dolphins the last 2 seasons, Combs.
Sorry, I said the wrong team. But either way, he had Tua freaking thrown to him. I believe when he played for the freaking didn't he play for the Ravens last year, actually?
I think you're right.
Yeah, he played for the Ravens.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Sammy Watkins has been that guy. Sammy Watkins has gone from team to team to team, and Sammy Watkins is such a great pickup. Maybe some of those other teams might have kept him.
Well, when we look at Sammy Watkins, he really hasn't done anything since he left the Buffalo Bills. And then did he go directly to Kansas City from Buffalo Bills? I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, he went Buffalo, Kansas City, then he went to
Baltimore.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Sammy Watkins, like for Green Bay and what they're doing, for you to think that Green Bay is not going to be better than Minnesota this year. I mean, they're just not. Look, I heard you yesterday say Minnesota's just that team. Every other team in the NFC North, that's not the Packers. It's just that team that finds a way to lose. What they did was they went out and they got an offensive head coach. They got away from the idiot that was making play calls, much like the Bears did. And they went out and, I mean, I didn't like their draft. I'll give you that much. I didn't like the trading down 20 picks and letting a division rival get one of the top wide receivers in the draft. I didn't like that. But this team is already so damn good. And I really like Kevin O'Connell as their head coach. I really think that the Minnesota Vikings win this division. I don't think that the Green Bay Packers, I joked around a little bit when I said they're, no more than 4 wins, trying to get under Wyatt's skin yesterday, but I really don't see this team being more of an 8 to 10 win team. And 10-7 is not going to win this division with the Minnesota Vikings in the division. I really think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to be one of those 12-5 or 11-6 type teams.
So Wyatt, let me ask you this question here: the Vikings finished 8-9 last season, missed the playoffs. You had them as a B+ draft simply because they added draft capital for next season, not particularly this draft. And they didn't add really any pieces on the offensive side of the ball besides a offensive-minded head coach. How can Combs realistically say that they are going to be 11 to 12 win team when their draft was mediocre? They still had that same offense, but just a new head coach that, is not really going to be able to implement his offense with Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is just not a very good quarterback. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, last year they're below 500 last year, and they didn't go out and really make any huge free agent signings. Like I said, the draft was good. I think that I liked how they had traded. I do agree with Combs on that. I don't like how they traded down to a division rival and gave them a big time playmaker. I think that is incredibly stupid, but they did it. So I mean, I think they're a under 500 team, and I think next year is most likely going to end up being the same thing because unless if Kirk Cousins is able to pull it together for all 17 games, then it's just they're not going to win games, and that's what we've seen over the last 2 years. I mean, the Vikings haven't had a 10-win season.
Well, who's been calling their plays for them though, Wyatt?
Mike Zimmer's been calling the plays. Yeah. They got a defensive guy calling the plays, but they've got some weapons on that offense. They've got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and they just continue to not use them right and waste that talent. And I don't
exactly, and that's where Kevin O'Connell is going to change that around. Kevin O'Connell will definitely change that around. Kevin O'Connell was going to bring that Los Angeles Rams offense over to Minnesota, and they're going to be a much better offense than what you think. And I'm telling you right now, the Minnesota Vikings are a much improved team just by changing their head coach. And you know what, Buck? I'm going to tell you right now. You know what, Wyatt, listen to me. This guy right here, Mr. Buck himself, okay, he talks about you waffling. He talks about me waffling. 7 hours ago, he posted his most overrated quarterbacks, and there was a comment under the most overrated quarterback in which somebody said Kirk Cousins needs to be there. And what did Buck say? He said, I actually think Kirk Cousins is underrated. But he just said here, Kirk Cousins isn't that good of a quarterback. Mr. Waffle himself, Buck.
I was trying to get underneath your skin just because, like, I know how you work, and like I know exactly how to get that blood pressure raised, Combs. And if I say the right thing, boom, somebody better call 911. But let me address that comment about how you keep bringing the coaching aspect into this mix here. We've seen the Detroit Lions. This is Dan Campbell's second or third year, right? And we are seeing it that it will take a full year to maybe even a year and a half to really implement your culture, your scheme, just your people. So to expect this Rams guru to come in and to instantly change the Vikings culture and their mindset, like, you're reaching there, much like you're reaching for the Chicago Bears to even get 6 wins with their new head coach and GM.
I agree. I think that the Bears are a 6-win team, but I think that the new head coach, I think that I really do like the addition of Byron Pringle. You watched Byron Pringle last year.
I do too.
Byron Pringle plays bigger than what he is listed as. Byron Pringle is one of those guys who will go up and get the ball. And I know that Wyatt had said, the Bears, we lose Allen Robinson. But Allen Robinson, his entire career, has been one of those guys that is all right in open field. But if he has to win a jump ball for a big wide receiver, he can't do that. He can't play in coverage. 107. I've watched this guy every single game for the last 4 years, Wyatt. This guy does not win jump balls. He does it. He can't go up in coverage and win the jump ball. He can't go up in coverage. He's not that guy you can just toss the ball up to like a Hopkins or any of those guys that you can toss the ball up to and he's going to go and fight for the ball and win it in coverage. He's not that guy.
Well, first off, the only reason why Hopkins even ever did anything is because he was using PEDs. That's a terrible example.
Oh, God. Here we go.
It is.
Here we go.
So, Combs.
Here we go.
So Wyatt, what you don't know is Combs just bought a very, very nice new truck here, and we heard him really romping on that gas earlier. Combs, you realize gas is like $4.60 a gallon, right? You should ease into that accelerator.
But listen to me. When I filled up my tank the other day, it's $4.59 by me, and what I did the other day was I was just under a half a tank, so I was like, you know what? Let me fill this up. It'll be cheaper than if I wait all the way, because I haven't really gone all the way down to E to fill it up. So I went. It was half a tank. It was $82.
Yep. Hell, my Camry's costing that much to fill from empty to full. So
I'm like, holy.
So Combs, Wyatt gave the Packers a grade, the Lions an A grade, the Vikings a B plus, and Wyatt, what'd you give the Bears? You gave them a C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what
imagine
what are your thoughts on those draft grades? Like, are they spot on, or would you adjust them a little bit?
I would give the Bears a B.
Okay.
I would give the Packers an A. I would give the Lions an A plus, and I would actually give the Vikings the C because of that trade with the Lions. That, to me, that didn't make any sense. Why they didn't stay at 12 and take that wide receiver to be on the opposite side of Jefferson and just stack that,
because they don't need a receiver
there. Well,
they have Adam Thielen there.
Yeah, you have Adam Thielen, but Adam Thielen's not getting younger, right? And you could have really had that dynamic 1-2 punch. And even if you throw Thielen in there, to me, Thielen's getting older. Thielen's not that same guy. It's more of the what are we going to do next year, the year after, and all that. I really did not like the Vikings draft at all. So they're the ones I give the C. The Bears, it's because it's out of necessity. It's what they went out and they did. They saw what they needed. They went out and got what they needed, as opposed to, hey, let's go out and try to win maybe 1 or 2 more games this year by giving Justin Fields another weapon. So instead of being a 5 to 6 win team, we'll be a 7 to 8 win team and still miss the playoffs. No, they're thinking about building now in winning later. And that's what the Bears franchise has lacked for so long. And I'm really happy to see Ryan Poles, finally a GM, going out there and doing the right thing and building this thing the right way. Are we going to be bad this year? Sure. Is it going to be tough to watch from a fan's perspective? Yes. But for me, I'm excited to see what growth you get out of Justin Fields. Yes, I know you didn't go and get him a ton of weapons, but I like what they did with Byron Pringle and Equinemius St. Brown. And I like the kid out of the Jones kid out of Tennessee.
Yep.
I like what they did there. So I just want to see some growth. I want to see some movement forward and see what we can do, because who knows what Matt Eberflus is capable of doing with this team and what the offensive coordinator that he's bringing along is able to do with this offense. I want to see a system built around Justin Fields as opposed to a coach trying to bring Justin Fields to a system.
Okay, so Wyatt, you've heard Combs kind of state his case of like how you should raise that Bears grade. He wants to grade off the curve there. Are you taking anything into consideration about giving them a higher grade after you heard his state there?
Oh, because I like Combs and I've missed him, I'll give him a C+ instead of a C. How about that?
There you go. C's get degrees. So, Combs.
Freaking Homer.
So, Combs, last night I did do a live show and I released my top 5 overrated quarterbacks in the NFL going into the 2022 NFL season. So, obviously, I have Lamar Jackson at number 1. Lamar Jackson is hands down the most overrated quarterback in the league. At number 2,
oh my God.
At number 2, I have Aaron freaking Rodgers. So I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is a bad quarterback by any means, but I'm saying $50 million for a first-round playoff exit is kind of a lot of money. So what are your first initial reactions when you hear Aaron Rodgers is the second most overrated quarterback in the league going into 2022?
Well, I think that's the most buck list we've ever had on this show. Because it's definitely a buck list. I don't know how you rate a former MVP who
two-time MVP, back to
still
back
at the prime of his career. No, I'm talking about Lamar. And then Aaron Rodgers. Like, I agree with you. I think that the Packers paid the wrong person. I'm not going to call him overrated because he's still the second best quarterback in the NFL. I keep hearing Wyatt say he's the best quarterback. He's still not better than Tom Brady because Tom Brady still wins championships. And Aaron Rodgers just choked.
So he's a second
Tom
greatest
Brady
quarterback in the league.
retired and came back.
Okay.
And Tom Brady retired is still better than Aaron Rodgers on the field because Tom Brady retired is going to go to more freaking Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers is while he's on the field in the Green Bay Packers uniform. They paid the wrong person. They should have paid Devontae Adams.
Playoff. I don't necessarily disagree with that. First off, second off, in the playoffs, yes, I'll give you that. Tom Brady obviously in the playoffs is a better quarterback, but if we're talking just like football all in general, he won the MVP the last 2 years.
Touchdowns last year.
He got lucky.
And Aaron Rodgers was the most valuable player in the NFL the last 2 years. Most valuable player. The most valuable player, MVP.
He's the most valuable player in his own mind. But you know why he's the most valuable player? Because he whines and all the attention is on him. Even Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, doesn't like the Green Bay Packers. And he's their damn quarterback.
That's false.
And they just paid him $50 million.
That is very false.
That's false.
To pay him $50 million a year, he doesn't even like his own damn team, doesn't like the ownership, doesn't like the coach. I mean, I don't understand what they were doing.
So
your losses.
So basically, you guys are saying to me that Aaron Rodgers is not overrated, and he will live up to the $50 million hype this season, a.k.a. win a Super Bowl, right?
He's not overrated. He's overpaid. He's overpaid.
Okay.
He won't live up to $50 million because for $50 million, you should win a Super Bowl, and he's not going to win the Super Bowl. If he was going to do that, he would have done it, 20 years ago when he had a chance to.
True. So number three.
That's the only time he could win it.
12 years ago? All right, so Wyatt, number 3 on my list, I have Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook. I have him as a third most overrated quarterback in the NFL coming into 2022. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree.
Well, I
agree. I think Russell Wilson is very overrated.
Oh no, guys.
Tell me why, Wyatt. Why is he not overrated? Is it the 9-0 start stat that he has and then still misses the playoffs, or is it the 8-0 starts when they go 8-8 and they make the playoffs in the first round exit?
He only didn't make the playoffs this year. He has made it for I don't even know how many years consecutively before this.
You're right.
And second off, Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Overrated, yes.
Easily a top 5 quarterback. I mean, danger Russ. Just let him cook. He's a dog. If you watch him play football,
Okay.
he is spectacular.
Okay, so pause. Every time they quote "let Russ cook," they are a 500 team at best because
that's why when they take it away. When they let him cook, that's when he's 8-0. And then Pete Carroll was always like, "Oh, I got to get the power struggle. Give me the ropes again." And then he would just grab the bandwagon and run it into the ground, and then Russ would get blamed for it.
Okay, so Combs, why do you think
Every
Russ
time.
is overrated? Like, obviously, Wyatt thinks he's a top 5 quarterback, and me and you both think he is overrated. Why do you think he's overrated, Combs?
Wyatt, do you think Justin Fields is a top 5 quarterback?
Do I think Justin Fields is a top 5? No. Do I think he has the potential to be eventually at one point,
Okay.
like 5 years down the road, and whenever he decides that, hey, I need to leave Chicago,
Bingo.
maybe, yes.
So then why do you think Russell Wilson's a top 5 quarterback? Because they had pretty much the same season last year.
Oh my God. Russ was hurt 90% of the year last year. What was it? Like, how many games did he miss?
I'm talking about when he played. When he played, he had more weapons than my guy over here in Chicago had that you don't like just because he's in Chicago. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want you to freaking go out there and be, oh, you got to leave Chicago. You're such a Green Bay Packers fan. Russell Wilson is overrated because Russell Wilson is overrated. Russell Wilson is not that guy. Denver got worse with that trade.
Oh my God. No, do not say that.
I
Do
wouldn't
not
say they
say
got
that.
worse,
With that trade.
but they didn't get
You're telling me if you got
better.
a choice between Drew Lock and Russell Wilson, you're taking Drew Lock.
I am, yes.
Can you now say that on the airwaves for me?
Yes, I am.
Right now, at this point, if you're telling me Russ 5 years ago, absolutely give me Russ. If you're telling me Russ for the 2022-2023 season, I'll take Drew Lock.
Do you want to know why? Just like what I said last night there, Wyatt. Drew Lock, you know that what you're going to get. He is in there to hand the ball off and to nickel and dime down the field. Russ thinks he has to put this team on his shoulder and then push the ball down the field and throw it into triple coverage. That's why Russell Wilson is overrated. He had DK Metcalf last season, and they didn't even make the playoffs. DK Metcalf is arguably a top 5 receiver in the league. Tyler Lockett is a top 10 receiver in the league. And you let Russ cook and he doesn't make the playoffs? Come on, man.
Listen to this. While not being healthy literally the entire year last year.
Okay.
While not being healthy the entire year last year, Russell Wilson still completed 65% of passes, threw for 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 6 picks. And he had a QB rating, a QBR of 103.1.
How many wins did he have last season?
He's hurt all year. And
No.
How
many wins did they have last season?
How many people are on a football team?
52, 53 if you wanted to get
Wyatt.
More than one.
Wyatt.
More than one.
Let me tell you something, Wyatt. You can let Russ cook if you want to, but just like you told me a couple of weeks ago over the phone, if you let Russ cook, just like Nikki, you're going to get burnt food.
Wow. Don't ever say that, Combs. She's watching, man. So number 4, I have Kyler Murray as an overrated quarterback as well. What are you guys' thoughts on that one? Kyler Murray, ranked number 4, overrated quarterback.
I would say this is the one quarter. See, I'd say this is the one quarterback on the list that I'm like, I could see it. I still don't 100% agree because I think that Kyler Murray is still really good. I just without DeAndre Hopkins last year, he had a 43.1 QBR. That is really, really, really bad. And the QBR is a stat to where, like, you know, you don't really need the influence of having all these great players and all. It's just about your rating, how you played, how you succeeded in your offense and all that stuff. So, you know, do you make mistakes? Do you throw too many incompletions? You know, how many touchdowns do you have? All that stuff is factored in to make your QBR. And a perfect QBR is a 158.3. Okay? Kyler Murray without DeAndre Hopkins has a 43.1 QBR. He is over 100 points below a perfect QBR. Over 100 points away from it.
Trevor Lawrence had a better QBR
last
than
year
him.
Was a 103.1. Russ was 60 QBR points ahead of Kyler Murray last year and played like possibly half or a third or 3/4 of the games that Kyler did, and doesn't have the defense or weapons that Kyler has.
And on the flip side of that, the Arizona Cardinals have not given him a big contract yet. They offered him just to give that 5th-year option. So therefore, that tells you that the Arizona Cardinals are not sold on Kyler Murray as their franchise quarterback. Otherwise, they would have gave him the next big deal, right?
Yeah, probably. I agree.
I'm on the fence with this one. Like, I really am. Like, I like Kyler Murray. I really think I'm a Kyler Murray. I mean, I picked the Cardinals to be 14-3 last year.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
And, well, I mean, I think they were 13-4 or 12-5. I mean, it wasn't that far off.
They were,
but
with the first round exit.
They still had double-digit wins.
With the first round exit.
Yeah. Like, they were really, really good. I mean, I think they started the season 9-0.
They were actually 11-0. They were 11-0.
I mean, what I could have done was say the Lions are going to win the division every fucking year.
They will eventually. They will eventually.
So, look, I like Kyler Murray. I'm a believer in Kyler Murray, but the way they got into that pass that he tried at the end of that game, in that playoff game, like I'm getting tackled, let me just throw it up underhand, blind, like.
That was the playoff game that happened?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought that was like.
That was how they got knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Sorry,
and
I forgot all about that.
I don't not believe in Kyler Murray anymore. Like I still like Kyler. I still think he can be that guy. I still think that the Arizona Cardinals are better with Kyler Murray right now than without him. I'm not going to say he's overrated, but I'm not to the point where I'm going to say he's underrated either. I think right now at this point, Kyler Murray is where he is. And if they go out this year and they underperform, if they miss the playoffs, or if they get into the playoffs, they have another first-round exit, and he plays poorly again like that in the playoffs, I might be with you on this list.
Well, truth be told, Colt McCoy will start more games than Kyler Murray this season for the Arizona Cardinals. But Combs, before we let you go and start your workday up there in Chicago, you are a Chicago Cubs fan, and there is another team on the south side of Chicago by the name of the Chicago White Sox. Many people think this battle is a rivalry. Is it still a rivalry to you, Combs, anymore? Like, do you get excited about playing the White Sox, or are you more excited playing about the Brewers or the Cardinals?
Look, this rivalry, and I say that with air quotes around it.
I felt air quotes.
It's a fans rivalry because it's just not a rivalry. We play each other now. With this year, they used to be we play each other 6 times a year. Now we play them this year. We're only playing them 4 times. 2 games at Wrigley, 2 at guaranteed rate. And it's just not like, it's not that. It's not, there's no it's not a rivalry. It's for the fans. To me, it's fun to joke around with my friends who are White Sox fans and give them grief, when they're playing the Cubs, sure. But when they're not playing the Cubs, I like the White Sox. I like watching these guys play ball. I like how they play. I mean, Tim Anderson's one of my favorite players in the game. This just isn't a rivalry and shouldn't be a rivalry. I think that, when a team plays in a different league and you only play them a handful of times a season, and the only reason you play each other is because you play in the same city, that's not a rivalry. That's not a rivalry. It's for the fans. It's MLB thinking, hey, we can make some extra money here. I mean, the stands at Wrigley last night, I mean, it was 46 degrees at game time, and it was raining. The stands were so empty.
Pass.
And it's just nobody was there, and it's not the same. Do I root for the White Sox when they're playing the Cubs? No, obviously not. I'm a Cubs fan, so I root for the Cubs. It's the Cardinals and the Brewers that I hate. The Cardinals and the Brewers that are the rivalry. The White Sox aren't a rivalry except for the idiot fans that want to get drunk and fight about their teams in the stands and get into fistfights and end up on YouTube.
That was so stupid.
So, Wyatt, you are a Cubs
fighting.
You are a Cubs fan. You root for the Cubs. You got a Cubs hat on right now that you can put a ponytail to. Do you get excited about playing the White Sox? Or are you more worried about playing the Brewers or the Cardinals or any other team besides the White Sox?
I mean, I second Combs. I mean, I think it's a bigger rivalry for the division rivals, especially with St. Louis. And the Brewers are a big rivalry too, but especially with St. Louis. So, yeah, I mean, our team right now, we brought in Stroman, and he's pretty much played like trash. He picked it up the other day finally. But before that, it was pretty much just Seiya Suzuki fighting all for our 9 wins that we currently have. So other than that, I could say Seiya's a dog, at least. Seiya. I'm getting a Seiya Suzuki jersey.
Hey, Wyatt,
that guy's
do you
different.
agree with me? Like, for me, the biggest reason I hate the Milwaukee Brewers, Craig Counsell's face makes me want to kick puppies every time they put it on camera. I can't stand Craig Counsell's face, man. Every time they show him,
Craig
I'm like,
Counsell.
dude, you're fucking like. No, I want to kick puppies every time I see his face.
Well,
as a matter of fact, if I ever met Craig Counsell, I would abuse a puppy.
You guys would see eye to eye. So, I mean, Combs, you'd have a great fight on your hands.
What, are you kidding me? He'd be at my kneecap.
No, he's probably at least 5'9". Anyways, Combs, it's time for you to get to work, man. Have a great day at work. Feel free to tune in and talk some trash over there on the YouTube channel. I got to work it today, so I'm pretty proud about that. So, Combs, any closing thoughts before we let you go and save the world and kill some puppies? Apparently,
yeah. I got two things real quick. Wyatt, every time I get into my truck, I still have your damn glove in the back of the truck. I'm going to UPS today. I'm going to send it out to you. I promise you, it's going to happen today because I have to go to UPS for work anyway. But
nice.
The second thing is, Wyatt, I just want to congratulate you on everything that you're doing. I also want to congratulate you on all the regular season championships your team has won because you are so proud of how good they do in the regular season over there in Green Bay. So congratulations on all them regular season championships. Maybe one day you'll get to see a Super Bowl, when you're not in diapers.
All right. And with that being said,
Combsy,
Combsy,
I appreciate
thank you, man. We will talk to you tomorrow, bud.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, guys, that is Mr. Brandon Beastie Combs on the phone there. Beastie joins us every 7:15 right here, East Coast time, moving forward here. So, guys, we're up against the first break. On the other side of the break there, Wyatt, we got some burning questions. People hit me up on the old Twitter machine, and we got 6 burning questions that we're going to ask, and we're going to answer them. And then coming hour number 2, the infamous AFC North, breaking down those draft grades. That's right. We got the Ravens overrated. We got the Browns overrated. We got the Bengals overrated, and we got the best team in the division, the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, I'm totally kidding. But hour number 2, guys, AFC North rankings coming up here. But stay tuned. We got to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
I give a slight edge, Mike, to Marquette because they're playing on their home court, and Marquette's been taking care of business on the road. Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Station not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're out the dark, no LA, we the big spark. No fourth and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sport. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
You're watching Man Hour. Hit that like button, baby.
Man Hour Nation, it's your boy BC Beastie Brandon Combs coming to you with a special message. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Now, that's 22 too many. And here at the Man Hour, we want to bring awareness to this. Our brothers and sisters deserve our support and our help. With the Take 22 merch, it's a small opportunity to show our appreciation and support to our veterans and take a small step to ending veteran suicide and treating PTSD properly. Every dollar spent on our Take 22 merch will be donated to the cause. So Man Hour Nation, rise up and show your support.
No, I didn't hear about that.
I give a slight edge, Mike, to Marquette because they're playing on their home court, and Marquette's been taking care of business on the road.
Yeah.
So I got messed up because of it. He's fine now. It didn't have to remove his eye or anything like that. But
All right, we're getting ready to come back. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Where's it at? And welcome back to Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheiser with the Wyatt Williams, guys. We are blessing your airways this morning. So, guys, if you be most inclined, head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Check out the blog section. Our man Mitch Hill just dropped a blog about the Houston Texans draft grade, so feel free to check that out. That is the most recent blog over there at manhourradio.com. And, of course, if you guys have missed any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on Belly Up TV, on the Apple TV, and, of course, Roku TV. Simply search for Belly Up Sports, and we're there at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. East Coast times, so you get to see this beautiful live show there, even though it's not quite live, but it is live, if that makes sense. There's a little hour delay, so they can mute me if I say some bad words, something, I don't know. But nonetheless, we do have a great about hour left here, and every Wednesday we do burning questions. So, Wyatt, people hit me up on the old Twitter machine at manhour_buck, and they slide into the DMs or they give me hashtag burning questions, and they give us some burning questions that they want to know about us or about NFL. Are you ready? Are you prepared to answer these questions truthfully and honestly?
I am completely and utterly ready.
Okay, so hashtag waffle it around. So question number 1 comes from our man Drew. So Drew hit me up last night, and we know how fond you are of Kevin King. You and Kevin King are like BFFs. You are the best friends ever, right? So with that being said, we are seeing Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen teaming up in a golf scramble to take on Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So the question has been
gonna get smoked.
So the question has been asked, Wyatt. You are a golfing guy now. You are in the golfing capital of the world, right? Can you beat Kevin King head-to-head on the golf course?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I haven't seen him play.
Me neither. I
don't
don't know where the question came from. But
I mean, I'm not good. Let's start with that. I'm not like I don't par every hole. I just started almost a year ago. I started golfing, so
right.
I'm not I'm not the greatest in the world, but I will say if I have a really good day and he has a really bad day, I feel confident enough that I could win. Because I've had days before where I played 18 and on the back 9 I was only +3 over par, something like that. And then on the front 9 I was only +4. So on the day overall I was I don't remember I think I ended up being +10 somewhere around there. I know I just said 3 and I think I said 7 or something like that. So it should be 10, but I'm not 100% sure what it was, but I know I was only +3 on the back 9 because it was the greatest accomplishment of my life at this point.
There you go.
So I was pumped about that. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how good Kevin King is, but like I said, if he catches me on my good day, I got confidence.
He is going to catch those hands. No, but I feel golf is like a sport where there is no athletic ability involved. It is, for one, it is a lot of luck. It is a lot of repetition, right? And there's just a lot of swinging this clubs over and over and over and just knowing how to hit the ball. So if Kevin King plays golf the way he plays cornerback, why you are going to mop the floor with this kid 100%. There is no question in my mind that you will literally say, "Who's your daddy?" and then he will say, "You are my daddy" for the next 100 years, just because that is how great you will be. But on the flip side of that, man, he is a professional athlete, Colm, or like Wyatt. And he does have a lot of spare time from getting burned because he doesn't play a lot on Sundays anymore anyway. So maybe he's finding the golf course a lot. So, but yeah.
Maybe.
Come on, Drew. We know Wyatt's going to win that golf game. Jeez, Drew, that's a ridiculous question. Ridiculous question. So now let's get into some real sports here. I mean, we know Wyatt has a great golf game here, but Wyatt is even better at the NFL draft. So, Wyatt, this question is from me, directed straight to you. A couple weeks ago, I said if a quarterback in this year's draft does not go in the top 16 or higher, this could arguably be the best quarterback draft class in a very, very long time. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, Pickett went number 22, Pittsburgh. Ritter went in the 3rd round to the Falcons. Willis went in the 3rd round to the Titans, and Matt Carroll went in the 3rd round to the Carolina Panthers. So with that being said, these quarterbacks did not necessarily fall into horrible situations, but they didn't fall into great situations like either. So how do you feel that this quarterback class will shape up in 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
Well, down the road, I really think it all has to depend on what you were talking about, just saying the system fits. When I look at Kenny Pickett, I think he's in a good spot to succeed. I think he's got a nice chance to do something in Pittsburgh, or at least the pavement has been laid for him. It's time for him to drive the car now and just go forward. So Kenny Pickett, I think, has a good shot of being successful. At least at this moment, looks like it's going to be the highest shot of being successful. Then I would say you said it has potential to be a top 5 draft ever. Is that what you said?
Oh, it has a potential of being one of the best quarterback drafts in a very long time. So we're talking
quarterback.
Just the quarterbacks in general.
Oh man, I don't know. There's some really good quarterback groups like the Josh Allen. That one had Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen. Let's see, Lamar Jackson. Even though he ended up being a bust, Josh Rosen was in that class. Who else? Who else was in that? 2018. You know what I'm talking about? 2018 draft class. And then there's one not too long ago also. We had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Even though he's not that great, Mitch Trubisky, who is still a solid guy, a starter in the league. he was in that class. So as for the best in the last several years, I don't know. I think that they have a shot to be. Obviously, we haven't seen him play football yet, so we got to see how Ritter takes everything in while he's in Atlanta. We got to see the situation in Nashville. Seems like it's heating up. I mean, it seems Ryan Tannehill comes out yesterday and says, "Oh, I will not be. It's not my job to mentor all these people." And Kurt Warner
That was
actually got
the
pissed at him
worst
and
thing
said
he
something
could
on social
possibly
media.
have said ever, to be honest
So
with you.
yeah, it was so sad. Basically, that right there was him signing off on like, yeah, you're gone, buddy. Like that was that moment for Tennessee. It was like, okay, well, we know like he's clearly not a leader now, and he's not,
Right.
team first kind of guy. So yeah, I liked what Kurt Warner said though. Kurt Warner got on Twitter and said, for all young quarterbacks, if old guys won't mentor you and they're being stubborn, something like that, he was like, you can text me anytime you want. I'm here for you, all this stuff. So Kurt Warner's a good guy on that. And yeah, so I mean, and then you look at Carolina, I think Matt Corral has a decent chance to start. Even some of the undrafted guys, you look at like Carson Strong, who went to Philly, E.J. Perry, who also went to Philly. I think they've got a shot at being, backups for most of their career and being foundational guys. So, I mean, obviously we'll have to wait and see how this draft class, shapes up and see what's, how they play in their cities and everything. But obviously they got a shot. I will say though, for right now, I don't know if I had to bet on them being one of the top quarterback classes ever. I don't think I could, because like, you look back at like 83, they had let's see here, John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino, Ken O'Brien as well.
Right.
You look at the 2004 class, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers. I mean, I just named 3 Hall of Famers right there. And Matt Schaub was also in that group. He's not, terrible by any means.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Just
71
a horrible
is
team,
Joe
right?
Theismann. Yeah. Joe Theismann, Archie Manning, Jim Plunkett, Ken Anderson, Lynn Dickey. So there's just some great quarterback classes. Even Aaron Rodgers' quarterback class in 2005 wasn't too shabby. You got Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matt Castle, Jason Campbell, Kyle Orton, and Derek Anderson. I mean, all solid guys who stayed in the league for a long time, and one of them ended up being one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. So, when you look at if this quarterback class has a shot to be a top quarterback class ever, obviously they do, because they're quarterback class, and they're rookies. They've got their whole career ahead of them, and we'll have to see what they're able to do with it. But if I had $10 to put on this class to be top 5 class ever, I'm not putting my $10 on it. But
All right.
I do like this class. I think this is an underrated quarterback class, and I don't think it's a great class, but I think it's a good class. I think people are underestimating it for how, I don't want to say how good it is.
Well, one quarterback you are forgetting is my guy from the Kansas State University, Skylar Thompson. I cannot believe he fell to the 7th round, because I thought, he was going to get picked at least in the fifth round. But you used the term dog, and Skylar Thompson is a dog. This guy is tough as nails. He has like 17 arm surgeries in the last 4 years, and he is going to do well in the NFL if he gets a shot. So the next question here, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, last year we had a rookie quarterback class that was very highly sought out. A couple names that come to mind is Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. So right here on the Man Hour, Tori said that Zach Wilson is complete trash. And myself and Combs deemed Trevor Lawrence to be a bust. And I think you were kind of on that bus, or like you were not on that bus train for Trevor Lawrence at like at all. But looking at the stats from last year, Zach for the Jets had 2,300 yards, 9 touchdowns with 11 interceptions. And Trevor Lawrence had 3,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. Do you think this quarterback class will be the worst quarterback class ever from the 2020 draft with Trevor Lawrence, Zach, and all those other guys, Mac Jones, etc.?
Ooh, do I think it's gonna be the worst ever? No. There's because you got like Mac Jones in that class too. You got to think we haven't even seen Trey Lance play yet. We really haven't even seen what Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence can do either, because they spent all last year running for their lives, or Trevor Lawrence spent all last year running for his life and trying to pull his coach out of the strip club for the first half of the year.
Right.
But eventually, Shad Khan had to just fire him. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to judge this class too early yet, just because there's still plenty of time. I mean, they've only been in the league for a year. They just had their rookie year, and if you look back at rookie years historically, there have been a lot of guys who had terrible rookie years and went on to have incredible careers. Peyton Manning is one of those guys. Peyton Manning still to this day holds the record for most interceptions thrown in a rookie season. So
also landed on a better organization though.
Huh?
He was also on a better organization than the New York Football Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they're not in ideal situations.
Jacksonville had to pay a B minus, maybe B wide receiver in Christian Kirk $80-something million to come by, because nobody wants to go to Jacksonville. I can tell you, I live in Florida right now, and the least cool or wanting to go to or anything city in Florida or location in Florida is Jacksonville. Nobody here talks about Jacksonville. All my friends are like, "Oh, I'm going to Tampa for the weekend. We're going to the beach. Oh, I'm going to Daytona Beach for the weekend. Oh, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. Oh, I'm going here. You know what they never say? Oh, I'm going to Duval County, Florida, to Jacksonville. Nobody ever says that.
So wait. Jacksonville is actually in Duval County, like that's why they say hashtag Duval.
Yeah, that's why they say Duval, because it's in Duval County.
Oh, that's so dumb. That is so dumb. Okay, that makes me hate the Jaguars that much worse. Oh my, that is so much worse. That is so much worse. So
it's horrible.
So why? Like I said, every Wednesday we have a list of burning questions here, guys. You can get me up on the burning questions at @manhour_buck on the old Twitter machine. Slide into those DMs or give me a hashtag burning question with and then at me. So why the next burning question that we have here? You are obviously an Aaron Rodgers fan. You are a Green Bay Packer fan. Aaron Rodgers purchased some land in Nashville this off season. So the burning question is, will Aaron Rodgers finish his career somewhere else?
No, I don't think so. He just signed that huge deal, and I think that deal was just a placeholder. I don't even think he finishes that deal. For the last 3 seasons, he's been, semi-uncommitted to football in the off seasons and stuff like that, and kind of had to take a step back every single year and decide if he still wants to play. And I don't doubt that happens again next off season if we lose in the NFC Championship, right? or divisional round. I don't think that won't happen. Again, that he'll rethink everything. So I think that whole deal was literally just a placeholder, just to make sure that he finishes his career in Green Bay. I think he plays 2 more years. I think he takes 2 more good stabs at a Super Bowl. And then if he can't get it, then I think he just realizes, like, hey, I had an incredible football career. This team has drafted the next guy, and I make $50 million a year, so it's time for me to go and do whatever Aaron Rodgers does in his free time that nobody knows about, except for him and Shailene Woodley.
Well, fun fact is, apparently I am like in this TMZ chat group now, and they broke up again, so they're not getting married anymore, Wyatt. So
they broke up again.
Yeah. Before we go to the next burning question here, let me jump over into the comments here over on youtube.com/manhour. Mr. Beastie Combs himself says, Urban Meyer didn't have a problem partying in Jacksonville. Wyatt, why don't you?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
I'm good. Let's just say that I'm good. I'm not partying in Jacksonville. If Miami is this close, if Tampa is this close, if Fort Lauderdale is this close, if Panama City Beach is this close, if Daytona is this close, if Orlando is this close, I'm good.
Speaking of which, I'll be in
nothing
Panama
in
City
Jacksonville.
at the end of June, so we'll have to link up. By the way, so
Okay, yeah, that's like, I think that's like 5 hours for me, something like that.
okay, yeah, well,
That's over because Panama City's over like in the Panhandle.
yeah, it's right by Alabama. Yeah, so we will definitely figure it out. So the next burning question that we have. So Buck, you are a Chiefs fan. Wyatt, you are a Packers fan. Who are your second teams that you root for each week in the NFL season?
So we actually have, this is like my friend group down here. We actually all cheer consecutively. We've all got different teams, but we all cheer for the Lions too.
Really?
Because how can you not? I mean, there's like-
Because
they're
for
so
one, they're a
terrible.
division team. You can't root for a division team.
They're a division. They're not. They're basically not even a division team at this point.
Oh
We
my
beat them
God.
2 times a year, every year. It's like, I think Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers has more wins at Ford Field than Matt Stafford does. It's just not. It's not that close. So, and everybody likes the underdog. Kind of succeeding here and
The
there.
lovable losers.
Right. Who doesn't love the lovable losers? And Dan Campbell gets out there and he does his whole show where, my guys are trying so hard. We just keep losing. He's out here crying on national television about it. And, I have a buddy down here who is a Lions fan. His name's Cam. So shout out Cam. And he has a Dan Campbell jersey. Did you know the Lions are selling Dan Campbell jerseys now?
What?
Like they are that trash that they sell jerseys for their head coach. Like they're like, look at our head coach. He cries when we lose. He really cares about us. Look. He's a good guy too. He knows football.
He played for the Lions, all right?
Yeah. Did you know he was on the 0-16 team?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Definitely know that.
He was literally there before and after the Stafford era. The year he played for the Lions was the last year before they got Stafford because they went 0-16 and had the first pick and drafted him out of Georgia. Which speaking of, that was a pretty good quarterback class, if I remember correctly. And
I don't remember who was in that class. That was 2009. Shoot, who was in that class?
Yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, and RG3. That was a good class too. What was that? That was like 2012.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Matt Stafford, QB.
Combs says, shake my head. You can only root for one team. Why?
Oh, yeah, and I only root for one team. I'm just saying, like, as collectively as a group, we all find it funny to root for a team that only has 2 wins.
So you should root for the Bears this
fun.
year. And then Combs comes back with you and says, Dan Campbell's jersey is no different than selling a Packers jersey with Aaron Rodgers on it. I don't quite understand that.
Here's this quarterback class. Let's see here. So Mark Sanchez was a part of it. Arguably one of the greatest rookie quarterback seasons ever.
Yeah.
Josh Freeman, who had a nice little stint in the NFL for a while.
From the Kansas State University.
Quarterback. Yeah, from there. It was a decent quarterback for Tampa Bay. Josh freeman was a little nice. Let's see here. Pat White was in that class. Stephen McGee, Rhett Bomer, more nothing.
Wait,
Nate
what year is this?
Nothing. 2000. Let's see here.
That was 2010, wasn't it?
2009. 2009. So Stafford was the first pick. Then Sanchez went 5th overall, and then Freeman went 17th. Then another quarterback didn't get taken to the second round. But let's see here. I think
that was my sophomore season at Kansas State.
There you go.
Fun fact.
Let's see here. Keith Null. Yeah, Curtis Painter. There's not. Honorable mention. Let's see the honorable mentions. Oh, Chase Daniel was in that class. Chase Daniels actually does not get the amount of cred that he should.
He's still
you want to hear Wyatt
in the NFL.
Talk up on a Bears quarterback.
Still in the NFL.
He is. He's been around forever. So yeah, I mean that class it's not incredible, but it was all right.
Yeah, they had a lot of quarterbacks. Man, that was the year that the Big 12 had 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top 15 for number of weeks. Not Kansas State. We just weren't very good that particular year. But you know what? It is what it is. I still got knocked out and got a concussion. But anyways, guys, it is time for a break. We are up against the next break here on the Man Hour. On the other side of the break, we're going to break down the dreaded AFC North, the draft grades. Is it the best draft grade out there per division? We'll find out right after this, per my man, Wyatt Williams. We'll be right back after this.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. That means we give the people what they want. Expert fantasy advice, leading medical and legal analysis, free contests, and innovative games to keep you entertained. Watch us live with the Tiki Live app on the Belly Up Sports channel, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on all social media platforms. Visit tssfantasy.com today for all the latest updates from the fantasy show of the people. We put the fun in fantasy.
Yeah!
Instead of the mayo
over sour cream, yeah.
Right, that's because you have high cholesterol. Okay. If you drafted Julio Jones,
you got ghosted.
This is amazing. TSS Fantasy is like an orgasm. If I had a cigarette, I'd smoke it. I'm pumped to be here. This is the show of shows.
TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
I want to be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working, never stop searching, never quench the thirsty, I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it, it's been chronic, since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic, go! To last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat them, make mistakes.
We're back. Yeah. Not going to happen, but figure it out. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheischer along with the Wyatt Williams. You can find me on Twitter at manhour_Buck. You can find Wyatt at _Wyatt Williams, guys. Be sure to give us a follow on the old Twitter machine. And Drew is a little bit bitter that Kansas State picked up Nebraska's quarterback, but we can talk about college football tomorrow a little bit. But why it is time to break down some more draft grades, and we're going to stick to the North, but we're going to flip to the AFC side this time, and we're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens went 8-9 last season. They traded Hollywood Brown to Arizona during the draft, and Lamar Jackson had an injury-riddled season. But how'd they do in this year's draft?
Well, like you said, starting off with the Baltimore Ravens, I was really, really, really impressed. It was a Baltimore Ravens draft. That's pretty much what it was. Guys who shouldn't have been there and were there when they needed them, and they just hit it out of the ballpark like they always do. They're incredible at drafting. They got arguably what could be the best prospect in the whole draft in Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. They got him at the 14th pick. Tyler Linderbaum, who could be the best offensive lineman in this draft. He's a center as well. He went round 1, pick 25. So I had another steal there. David Ajabo, this is a huge one here. The second round pick for them, edge out of Michigan. He was actually supposed to be a first-round pick, but he's had some injury stuff that caused him to fall to the second round. So instead of spending a first-round pick on him and, risking injury and all that, you just spend a second-rounder on him, and you get a guy who's a first-round guy who has some injury issues, but you get him at a discount. So it all really works out. After that, Travis Jones, nice pickup. They added some depth to the offensive line. They added some depth to the tight end position, which I scratched my head at that a little bit, especially when they took the second tight end. I like likely. I like likely more than I like Collier. So I think I would have taken likely and not gotten Collier. I would have gone a different direction because you've already got Mark Andrews. So there's no, yeah, you can add tight end depth, but after that, they weren't really, it wasn't like yesterday where we were talking about the Lions and, they had TJ Hawkinson, but after that, it was pretty much just nothing. So they needed to add some weapons where this team, while they did need to add some weapons, I think the weapons needed to be in the wide receiver core. That was the only knock that I had on this draft from the Baltimore Ravens. The one thing, and I think it's the reason why I did not give them an A+, is because they did not go after a wide receiver. And all they did was trade away their best wide receiver. So, I mean, while they did get another second round or another first round pick, and they ended up taking Linderbaum with it, that's cool. They added to the offensive line. Wide receiver was a huge need in this draft already, and then you take away Hollywood Brown, and that just makes it an even bigger need. So now they're kind of stuck in a spot where they're going to have to rely. Or I will say this, I'm realizing this now, maybe this is them kind of like fully committing to the run game too. Maybe this is them saying like, hey, look, we traded away. We're going to get a guy who can block. We're adding to the defense. So maybe this is them committing to the defense and stick with running the ball. That's what this draft kind of reminds me of here. And they also took a running back with their 6th round pick after J.K. Dobbins got hurt last year, even though he's still going to be the guy there. He's incredible. So overall, I gave him an A. I'd say their best pick, and I don't mean to, shoot down the other picks. I think there's a lot of candidates for this, but the best pick for me is still going to be Kyle Hamilton. I don't mean to just go with the round 1 guy because I feel like that's cheating, but the fact that Kyle Hamilton was even still there at 14 just mesmerizes me. And they got a absolute steal. So best pick was Kyle Hamilton, and the overall draft grade, I'm going to give him an A. Would give him an A+, but like I said, I just feel like that there was a wide receiver that needed to be, not a bunch of wide receivers like the Packers had to draft 3. Some other teams had to really go in on wide receiver depth. They really only just needed to get one because you still have Rashad Bateman, you still have Devin Duvernay, and James Prochet. If James Prochet gets field time, I really think that guy is a beast. James Prochet was a 6th rounder a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I believe, out of SMU. And if you watch his highlight tape, he is explosive.
Yeah.
He's only like 5'11", but his vertical is like 40-something inches. So he can go up over top of anybody. Like linebackers, he can go up over top of safeties. He can go up over top of cornerbacks. It doesn't matter. This guy can get up there. On top of that, he's incredibly fast. He's super shifty. You're not going to get a hold of him. So I'm really excited to see him finally get his opportunity. This was a guy 2 years ago that was my sleeper pick out of the draft 2 years ago. I really liked him. He was my day 3 guy that I was like, okay, he can make a difference in the NFL. So really it's all just going to come up to Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and James Prochet, and also obviously Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins. So they've got the star power. They're just going to have to run more of a. The only time they pass is going to be totally out of the RPO, it looks like, or the play action.
Yeah,
those are going to be really the two things.
Well, that's how Lamar Jackson is rolling the pocket and getting out there and definitely, pushing the ball down the field with his legs. But the one head scratcher in this draft was their fourth round pick. They drafted a punter in the 4th round. You can normally get punters and kickers in like the 7th and free agency pickups, right? So to draft a punter in the 4th round when you could have drafted a receiver or some more defensive help, that's a real big head scratcher to me, Wyatt. So with that being said, with drafting a punter in the 4th round and not getting any receiver help like at all, you're still giving them an A?
Yeah, and I think Jordan Stout, the punter that they got out of Penn State, I still think at that point, I mean, punter is a really important position. and Cook, who they have right now. He's getting older, and Baltimore really values punters, and I believe they drafted Cook as well, and they've had him for like I think we're coming up on 2 decades now. So if you spend a 4th rounder, 5th rounder, 6th rounder, 7th rounder, somewhere in there, if you spend a day 3 pick on a punter, I'm okay with that, especially if it's going to be your guy for a long time, because punter is one of those positions where it's like you're never going to know the guy
right
until he messes up, and you're going to wish you had a better punter or a different guy in a big situation if he screws up. But if you've got a guy like Jordan Stout, who's got a lot of potential to be a really good punter for a long time in the NFL, I really think that's a big addition and something that's vitally important and going to be overlooked for how important that it is to have. Because like I always say, it is much better to have something when you need it rather than to need it and not have it. So
exactly.
I like this. This will put Stout underneath Cook as well for a few years. Let him kind of learn the ropes for a year or two, and then they can make a very smooth transition. Cook can retire or go elsewhere, do whatever he wants, and then it'll be time for Stout to take over, and the Stout era of punting will go on in Baltimore.
Okay, so I am really glad that you justified that pick for me there, and you definitely changed my mind a little bit. So sticking to the AFC North here, the next up is we do have the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns did go 8-9 last season. They missed the playoffs, but they had a very active offseason. They picked up Jacoby Brissett, and they also picked up Deshaun Watson in that quarterback room, so giving them basically 3 starters right now in the quarterback room. However, they did have a draft still. So how did they do in this year's draft?
I would say this was one of the more underrated drafts. I don't think that this was an A by any means for this group, simply because they really didn't have a lot of options to pick to get A guys. Their first picks were in the 3rd round. So they didn't have a chance to get those star guys. But I will say, with what they had to work with, they did a really good job. So like you just talked about, they used the picks that they traded away to get Deshaun Watson. So you get your guy, you get your quarterback. That's settled. Now you got to find something to do with Baker Mayfield. But looking at this draft, I do like what they did with what they had to work with. First off, wide receiver was an issue for this team, and this has been something since even before Odell Beckham Jr. left. And David Bell out of Purdue is a really, really solid wide receiver. I think he's a guy who can come in and he can start for you right away. And he is a guy who you can have in your lineup for a long time. I don't think he'll ever be a A+ wide out, but he's just a guy who's going to come in and he's going to be a B+ guy for you every single day. He's going to work hard. He's going to catch balls and he's going to score touchdowns. And that's really all that matters for that one. After that, if you look, Cade York, LSU kicker, this was several underrated picks in this. This is one of them. Cade York, we were just talking about a punter. Now let's transition it to kicker. We all know the struggles that we've seen kickers have, especially in the recent years with kicking, because they made extra points harder. They moved it back. Really, the only position that it hasn't got easier on over time is kickers and punters. So you need a solid guy. And last year, Evan McPherson was taken to the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Cleveland Browns looked over and they were like, oh, hey, look, they had a lot of success drafting a kicker. Why don't we go do the same with a kicker who is really good and can be a guy who will stick in the league for a long time and can stay with us for a long time? So with their 4th round pick, they went and got Cade York, kicker out of LSU. And I think he's the best kicker in this draft. And like I said, I think he's a guy who we'll see around the league. The Browns are hoping in a Browns uniform for the next at least 10 to 15 years. I think he's a solid guy. After that, I was a little confused with this addition, but let me say it's still an underrated addition. I was still surprised and still liked their 5th round pick with Jerome Ford, running back out of Cincinnati. First off, he's already in Cincinnati. He's an Ohio guy. He understands the culture there with football and everything. So he is ready to go to play for Cleveland and be a win now kind of guy. Now, here's what I didn't understand. If you look at the Browns running back room, they've already got Nick Chubb. They've already got Kareem Hunt. They've already got Dearness Johnson sitting behind that, and then one more running back. I don't remember off the top of my head, but their fourth running back. I don't remember what his name is, but since then you add Jerome Ford to the running back room, which is a nice addition out of Cincinnati, as well as Michael Woods, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, their 6th round pick. I think he's a really flashy guy who has some returning capabilities, and I think he could add to this team. And then just overall, they added a lot to the D line, and they add a little bit to the offensive line for some pad there. But the main storyline of the draft here is that the Cleveland Browns pretty much drafted Deshaun Watson. That was how I saw it. They spent the 1st round picks on Deshaun to be able to get their quarterback. So, the Browns have always historically struggled with the quarterback position and drafting quarterbacks and all that. So I guess they're like, okay, after 100 tries, I guess we've learned our lesson. Let's just trade for a good quarterback. Yeah. So that's what they did. They've acquired Deshaun Watson. Like I said, they don't have any 1st or 2nd round picks because of it, but with the stuff they had to work with, I think they got some really solid guys overall. And their best pick for this, I'm going to surprise everybody right here. I'm going with 4th rounder Cade York, kicker out of LSU. Like I said, he's going to be a guy that could be in Cleveland for the next 15 years. And if you take somebody in the 4th round and they're with you for 10 to 15 years, that's a success to me. That's a huge success to me. So the addition of Cade York is absolutely huge for them. I'm really excited to see what he can do for this team and what he can add to the special teams room. So my best pick is Cade York. And overall draft grade, ready for this?
I'm ready.
I give him a B.
You give him a B.
Solid B.
I do like that solid B. So just to add to your point here, I did look up their roster. Their 4th running back that you're referring to is Jerome Ford. I don't know much about him, but I did see him play a couple snaps last year. But I feel like they drafted a running back because of the injury of Nick Chubb last year. You don't quite know how he is going to come back, and Kareem Hunt is on his final year of his contract. He has been signing these 1-year prove-it deals with the Cleveland Browns over and over and over. So to take the words out of your mouth, it's better to have something when you don't need it and need it when you don't have it, right? So it's definitely a questionable pick because you do now have 5 receivers in that room, but somebody's got to go at the end of the day. Also, let's not forget that the Cleveland Browns did pick up Amari Cooper as well in the off season, so that is a very flew under the radar trade there as well. So moving on to the next team here, we do have the Super Bowl runners-up and the Cincinnati Bengals. Their regular season was 10-7, and obviously they were a Super Bowl loss to the LA Rams. So Wyatt, how do you think they did in this year's draft?
I was actually pretty impressed with this one as well. I feel like the AFC North did a decent job as well with their drafts. First off, I think one of the most underrated 1st rounders in this draft is Daxton Hill, safety out of Michigan. Because Kyle Hamilton is so good, people just didn't really take a look at Daxton Hill and how he has a shot to be, if not the best safety, a top 2 safety in this draft class. So I think they solved an issue at safety by filling there because, I don't know, did they get Jesse Bates back? Did they re-sign Jesse Bates?
I think I heard they did sign him back, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Let me check and see if they re-signed him real quick. Yes, Jesse Bates is still on roster, so this is a nice addition here. Daxton Hill, pair him with Jesse Bates. They also went with cornerbacks, Cam Taylor-Britt. So I like that pick in the 2nd round out of Nebraska. The big thing here for them for the offseason is they really needed a lot of offensive line, and I was expecting this draft to be mainly offensive line. We saw in the 4th round with Cordell Volson, guard out of North Dakota State. But overall, they got their guys through free agency instead of through the draft. I mean, they got, Kappa and Lael Collins. They brought in Lael Collins and Kappa for their offensive line. So they're bringing in that protection for Joe Burrow to where that knee scar is going to be able to, you can look past it now at least a little more.
Right.
And then, like I said, they just brought in Volson, so another guy that you can kind of universally play him anywhere on the interior offensive line. So he's a plug and play guy, and I'm excited to see what this class can do. Let's see here. Tyson Anderson, safety out of Tulsa, 5th round pick, not a bad addition there. And then Jeffrey Gunter, the edge out of Coastal Carolina with their 7th round pick, just adding somebody on that defensive line, more pad there. So I will say their best pick, once again, I keep on saying this, but I hate going with the first rounder. I feel like that's cheating. But nothing really on their draft card here just stands out to me like Daxton Hill does. I mean, Daxton Hill is a great coverage safety who can also do a little run stopping for you when needed. So I really like Daxton Hill. I like the way he plays. He's all over the field. He's a safety. He does what he's supposed to.
Exactly.
And I think he's going to be a really good addition to this Bengals defense. So people in Cincinnati are going to be excited about Daxton Hill. So that's my best pick for them.
Well,
and then
just to add to your point there,
overall,
Wyatt, this guy was supposed to be a top 15 pick, and he kept sliding down, and sliding down. So, I mean, it was a steal, like on the 31 there. So, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to add that point in there for you.
No, you're good. No. I think a lot of safeties for some weird reason kind of fell this year in the draft. I mean, we even saw. I thought for sure there was no way Kyle Hamilton was making it out of the top 10. Yeah. I was going to be surprised if he made it out of the top 7, but I was going to be like really surprised if he made it out of the top 10. And then when he went 14th, I was just like, you got to be kidding right now. Especially whenever you had the Vikings at 12, and they traded down to Detroit. When the Vikings were at 12, with them already, Harrison's getting up there in age. He's getting older, and it's time to, the Minnesota Vikings have always valued having a defense and a good defense at that. So I was pretty surprised that they didn't take him at 12 and that they had traded down. But this is just another safety in this class who is really good, but did fall. So with that being said, I think they did a good job overall in their draft. Like I was saying a second ago, nothing really stands too out at me other than Daxton Hill. So I didn't want to put him in that A minus category because, like I said, there isn't really a boom factor to this. They just got a bunch of really solid guys who are going to make their team better, but they didn't get a big guy. You know what I mean? A guy who's going to come in and he's going to be, other than Daxton Hill, and he's going to be a all pro, just an all out, just dude. So I gave them a B as well on this.
Yeah. So just not to take anything away from players in this draft, just because being drafted for one is the greatest accomplishment of their young lives, right? Just besides the top 3 or 4 picks, Wyatt, there was that no big player out there that was going to like make that huge splash. Like there were just a bunch of really good players that are going to be in the NFL for a really, really long time. I feel like this is just a solid class from top to bottom, and like that's why there was none of that big splash factor per se. So moving on to the last team here in the NFC or in the AFC North are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did go 9-7-1 last season. They did make the playoffs. The first round loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Big Ben has retired. They pick up Mitchell Trubisky in the offseason in free agency. Wyatt, they drafted a quarterback and some other key pieces on that team. But how do you rate the Pittsburgh Steelers draft?
Well, starting off, I had to take a couple of looks at this draft. This draft was pretty interesting to me. I think I was really on the fence of I couldn't decide if the Steelers did a really good job or a really bad job. And the conclusion that I came to was I think they did a really good job. I do. Going forward in the future, Kenny Pickett, he played at Pittsburgh. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. If there's a guy there at 20 who is a good first-round capable guy, a leader at the quarterback position, he's got the big arm, while the hand size may be smaller, he's a good quarterback overall. He was a Heisman candidate. He threw for a lot of yards, threw for a lot of touchdowns. So with that 20th overall pick at Kenny Pickett, I like that. I did overall like that pick. Do I think Malik Willis would have better fit their, not system? Do I think that Malik Willis is a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett and is going to have a more successful career? Now that he fell to the Titans, maybe not. But if he would have went to the Steelers, I do think he would have been better. But Pittsburgh went with Kenny Pickett, which I do understand. Like I said, it's the Pittsburgh guy. You kind of have to go with him. So overall, I liked their first round selection. The second round and on is really where it gets interesting, though. So round 2, pick 52, they get George Pickens, who is a menace to society. I mean, he is and I cannot explain this to you enough, perfect Steelers wide receiver. Absolutely perfect Steelers wide receiver. Because look back at Steelers wide receivers. There's always something with them. You have Antonio Brown, who is just extra, always doing, he's the Kanye of the NFL pretty much.
Yep.
If I had to compare him to something. You had Juju Smith-Schuster, who's always on TikTok, all that stuff, drawing the attention. And you look at Chase Claypool, who's drawing the attention for some of the plays that he made last year with, like, when he's celebrating and they have 10 seconds till the clock's going to run out. And it's like, what are you doing? So it's just like, it was a textbook pick. I was sitting there and I was so confused. I was like, man, why'd they take Pickens there? But when I thought about it, it makes so much sense. George Pickens, if you watch his tape, George Pickens genuinely does love playing football, but more than that, he loves starting SH. Like, he loves starting more than he loves playing football. I mean, if you look at the clip, I don't know who they were playing. I think it's Georgia Tech. He grabs that wide receiver or the cornerback by the face mask and like runs him over to the wall and just bashes him face first into the wall.
He was blocking to the whistle.
I guess he's a perfect pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he fits the bill incredibly. They've always got the extra over the top wide receivers, so perfect pick in my opinion. Leo Devensvin out of Texas A&M, third rounder, a really solid pick. I think he adds to that already stacked defense. That defense is getting too good now because they just added Miles Jack this offseason. They've already got TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cameron Hayward. I mean, there's guys everywhere on this defense. This defense is getting way too good now. Like, it's genuinely getting unfair. So the addition of Leo, I really like that for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they did a good job for rounds 1 through 3. Also in round 4, Calvin Austin, you get another wide receiver out of Memphis. This wide receiver group for Pittsburgh has kind of been depleted a little bit, and they needed to add some guys. So getting to throw Calvin Austin there in the mix as a 4th rounder, I like that pick. Their 6th rounder is in my opinion one of the most underrated picks in the draft. Connor Hayward. He's brother of Cameron Hayward. So first off, you already get the connection. You already get the chemistry. You already get all that coming with it. It's wrapped up with a nice bow. Connor Hayward can play tight end. Connor Hayward can play fullback. Connor Hayward can be an edge blocker for you. He can go out and catch passes. He can run the ball. He can block. I mean, he is a universal Swiss Army knife for an offense, and I'm a big fan of the way this guy plays football. He's a great addition to this team out of Michigan State. And like I said, he's already got that chemistry. His older brother literally plays for them. So even up to the 6th round, I think they did a good job. Mark Robinson, linebacker out of Mississippi, another solid depth addition here to this defense. They love doing this. They just love adding depth. Yep. And then the round 7 pick of Chris Oladukin out of South Dakota State. I think that pick is more because of the passing of Dwayne Haskins. So because Dwayne Haskins passed away, they lost somebody in the quarterback room. So you need to, obviously you have to fill that spot still. So with them already bringing in Mitch, I mean, at this point, before the draft, all they had was Mitch, and they had Mason Rudolph. And I don't think is Dobbs still there? Is Josh Dobbs still there?
Dobbs is still there. He is listed right now as a 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. So
okay, well, I mean, they've always really liked having a lot of quarterbacks. So, when Haskins passed away, I kind of expected them to. Obviously, they were drafting a 1st-round quarterback, but I kind of expected them to go ahead and get another quarterback at some point in the draft, just to fill the quarterback room. Because once again, it's always better to have something when you need it rather than to need it and not have it. So
Exactly.
For them to go and fill that spot, I don't want to say fill that spot because you're not going to fill that spot, but for them to add to the roster where they had a tragic ending to the tragic loss of the roster, I think was a good pick for them. So overall, I was pretty impressed with the Steelers draft. I really was. I think this is, like I said, one of the most underrated drafts for anybody in the league this year. A lot of people really aren't talking about how good they did with this draft. So with that being said, I'm right on the fence still. I'm on the fence. I can't decide if I want to go B plus or if I want to go A minus, because there's a part of me that really wants to go A minus because I think that they did an A minus job. But there's a part of me that's like, every one of these picks could not work out. Like, all of these picks are home run or strikeout guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a great point.
Kenny Pickett is a home run strikeout guy. George Pickens, home run strikeout guy. DeMarvin Leal, I think he's gonna be good. I think he'll stay around for a while. Calvin Austin, another. Connor Hayward. I think Connor Hayward stays around for a little bit. But just pretty much there's a lot of just hit or miss guys. So at the moment, I'll give him an A minus. We'll adjust as time goes on. But for the moment and for the time being, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my book, get an A minus, and their best pick is Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Oh well.
First round,
just to add to your point there, any quarterback drafted for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, is going to have the most success out of every quarterback in this class, whether it been Kenny Pickett or Desmond or Mills or Skylar Thompson or the Zap kid, right? Like pretty much any quarterback that is going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are literally a quarterback away. They have the best defense in the NFL on paper, hands down. They have a pretty solid receiver core. Chase Claypool is kind of the head case, but I think Mike Tomlin has reeled him back in a little bit since he is the guy now.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, like Chase Claypool probably is the guy now since Juju is gone. So maybe that's what he needed. So I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are a scary good team, and I do think Mitchell Trubisky will start this season. But Kenny Pickett is going to be a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a very, very long time. You're looking at a 15, 16, 18-year career, much like Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, no, I think that there's definitely a huge possibility of that. And yeah, I mean, when you look at the wide receiver room too, you've also got Deontay Johnson's in there. He has a shot at being the number one guy. They got James Washington, a solid guy. They got Najee Harris, who catches passes out of the backfield and runs the ball incredibly well. He's like Alvin Kamara, but Najee Harris is like Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry had a baby. Like, it's just like those two mesh together.
I forgot he was even on the roster, to be honest with you. Like, he's great. And then Benny Snell behind that. Benny Snell's a great backup running back they've got. Right. Then you got to think they got Freiermuth, who they just picked up in last year's draft. So they've got I was very impressed with Freiermuth and everything he did last year as well. So I think Pittsburgh is really setting themselves up for success here and in, like I said, one of the hardest divisions in all football. Yeah, hands down, probably the hardest division, even more tougher than the AFC West, which we all think is going to be a really, really good division as well. So last year, Wyatt, obviously the Bengals won the division, Steelers in second, and then it came the Ravens and then the Browns. Obviously, way too early predictions, but who do you have winning the AFC North this year?
Oh, this is tough because it'll all depend on, what happens with Deshaun Watson. I think that's a big underlying circumstance here. If Deshaun Watson, if he's cleared to play and he's going to play, then I don't know. It's like all 4 teams. You can make a
yeah.
realistic, realistic argument for all of these teams, and not just a realistic argument. You could make a realistic argument for all of these teams to make a deep playoff run.
Oh, 100%. I
Like,
agree
are
with
we
you.
really
Yeah.
going to sit here and say that we couldn't see the Bengals in the Super Bowl again next year, or that we couldn't see Pittsburgh doing some surprise stuff, or Kenny Pickett being really good and them going to the AFC Championship, or let's say Deshaun Watson really does pick it up and does great immediately, and they could go to the AFC Championship. Baltimore's already showed us when they were 13-3 just a couple of years ago that they can be great. So this division is so hard to pick, and I hate that I have to choose this, but I've got to go with an answer. So you know what? I am tired of betting against Joe Shiesty. So you know what? Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to win the division. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They won the division last year. And I think while they didn't do as good as the Steelers did in the draft, or the Ravens either, I still think they added some really nice pieces to the offense. Lyle Collins and Kappa are huge for that offensive line, because Joe Burrow needed protection. Like, that wasn't even a question. It was a need at this point. So now they've got 3 or 4 solid offensive linemen. Then they added another through the draft. So they're going to be able to put together a nice unit for the offensive line. You've already got Joe Mixon. You've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that entire wide receiver core. So they've got the weapons, and their defense is decently stacked as well, with Hendrickson on the other side, Bates. They just got Daxton Hill. So overall, this team is nice. It's stacked. So while I don't want to count out any of the other teams,
right,
I'll take Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I am not going to take the Cincinnati Bengals, because the Cincinnati Bengals had a 4th place schedule last season. This year they'll have a 1st place schedule, right? So a team that is a consistent staple. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He has. I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs either. But I think incredible. I think this is Pittsburgh Steelers' division to lose right now, because of everything that they did. I do like the addition of Mitchell Trubisky. I like the addition of Kenny Pickett. Hell, I love Mason Rudolph. I'm totally kidding. Mason Rudolph can just get cut and fly off like
head.
Yeah. But seriously, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the weakest part of their team is the quarterback play, and Mitchell Trubisky was a 1st-round pick. Kenny Pickett is a 1st-round pick.
Overall.
Yeah. So like, they have the talent there. They have the know-how. They, Mitchell Trubisky went to an organization where they run a lot of games, right? And the Buffalo Bills, and come to Pittsburgh. So this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, definitely division to lose, I think. Ravens are complete dog trash. They're done. Bengals and Browns they'll be cutting it close for the 2nd place fight there. And just like you said, it all kind of depends on Deshaun Watson of how many games he is going to get suspended, and if Jacoby Brissett can hold down the fort while Deshaun Watson is MIA, right? So
can you imagine if they come to Baker and they're like, "Hey, we don't know when he's going to be able to start. Could you possibly hold down the reins for us while we wait for him to come in?"
So I actually thought that same thing. I'm like, maybe they are hanging on to Baker because of that very reason, right? But then that very afternoon, I watched a press conference with Kevin Stephani, right? And he said that Jacoby Brissett is the backup quarterback. If Deshaun Watson has to miss any amount of games, Jacoby Brissett is our guy.
That's probably because Baker Mayfield told them to go F themselves, and then he wasn't playing. Well, he said that the other day too. He said,
"How would you feel?
He would never play again in a Browns jersey."
Yeah, how would you feel? led them to the playoffs, the first playoff win in forever, right? What was it, like 1992 or something, just like that?
For a long time.
And then you play from week 2 on with the torn labrum in your non-throwing shoulder. I don't care if it's non-throwing shoulder or throwing shoulder. That hurts like an MFer. I had it, and it still hurts me to this day, and that was in 2010, right? I mean, that was 12 years ago. So, I mean, like, I definitely understand it 100%. So, like, Baker's definitely getting the 100% shaft there, and my man Trent Mason jumps in the chat here. He gives the Bengals the thumbs down, and he says, "Mark my words, Buck, the Ravens will win 10+ games this year." Well, joke's on you. 10+ games is probably not going to make you into the playoffs this year, Trent. Like, the AFC is loaded, Wyatt.
On this division.
Yeah, the AFC is loaded.
The AFC is loaded. This is going to be one of those years where, like, what was it? 2 years ago, the Dolphins had 10 wins and didn't make the playoffs. That was
the only thing I could see is the AFC North here is we are going to look at it like the NFC West from last season when we literally had every team winning like 11, 12 games in that division. And they literally just beat the dog crap out of each other every week. And Trent is right. He says defense wins games. Actually, offense wins games. Defense wins championships. They're Trent. But unfortunately, the Ravens don't know how to win playoff games. So you can have the best defense ever, and Lamar Jackson is still going to be overrated, still going to be trash, and still going to get knocked out in the playoff game, right? What's wrong, Wyatt?
No comment.
No comment.
I'm not commenting on your Lamar Jackson slander anymore.
Well, as you guys know, I do have Lamar Jackson as the number 1 overrated quarterback going into the 2022 NFL season, along with Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Joe Burrow. So I do have Joe Burrow as the number 5th most overrated quarterback going into 2022.
You have Joe Burrow is overrated.
I do. Because, Wyatt, so I got a privilege to coach Trent there, like 4 years ago now. Man, it has been forever. I feel like Trent's getting old, or I'm getting old, one or the other. But when I have kids that start to excel and start to exceed and I expect them to be there and they don't get to that point, I ride their asses because I expect you to be up here now, right? And that's exactly where we expect Joe Burrow to be now. We expect Joe Burrow to be up here, and I don't think he is going to be able to get that ceiling as much as we saw last season. That's why I have him as overrated. I still think he's a good quarterback. I love Jamar Chase. I love T. Higgins and like all those boys and what they're doing. But when I expect 90% out of you and you're only giving me 80% over, you get the deemed overrated. And he
went to the Super Bowl last year. They should have not even made the playoffs.
They were 10-7. They won that division. How should they not have made the playoffs?
At the beginning of the season, nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Like, at the beginning of the season, they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl.
So you are right. Joe Burrow did have a great regular season. Actually, let's say from like week 4 on, right? So it was about 3 quarters, almost 5/8, right? He had a really good regular season. Playoffs, he was kind of meh. Right, he was still good, but he was.
No, I disagree 100%.
Okay,
Joe Burrow was exceptional in the playoffs. I thought that was where he came alive. Literally, if he had one more second to throw in the Super Bowl on that last play, Jamar Chase was wide open running down the field.
He was.
Aaron Donald made a, "Hey, I'm one of the best defenders of all time" plays, and stopped the Super Bowl from being a Bengals victory.
What about the Tennessee Titan game when they snuck by there, when they got sacked like 12 times in that game? Like,
that's not his fault. That's the offensive line's fault.
He was
He
was hanging on the ball to over 5 seconds every play. That's why he was getting sacked.
He was hanging on to the ball a little too long, but he still was playing so good. He got them there.
Well, like I'm just saying, when you expect now we expect Joe Burrow to be so great. We expect those 400-500-yard games every game. We're not going to see it. We're going to see 250-yard yard games.
250.
He is going to get the Patrick Mahomes treatment from a couple years ago when Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,000 yards, and the next season he threw for 4,800 yards, and he missed a game. We're like, oh, what happened to Patrick Mahomes, right? Joe Burrow's going to get the same treatment, Wyatt. Same
Think
treatment.
so?
I know so. Trent Mason says, I think Burrow losing Uzma will be a bigger loss than people are going to talk about. That is very true. Uzma went to the Giants or Jets. It was some New York team. I can't remember for sure, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he went to CJ Uzomah. Yeah, he went to the Jets. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a
he wanted to go make that money.
Huge loss. Drew says, I agree with you, Wyatt. I mean, Drew and Wyatt got like a love connection. It's kind of weird.
No, Drew's just an educated man.
Educated man. Speaking of educated man, we are up against that 2-hour mark here there, Wyatt. Another show in the books for Buck and Wyatt right here on Man Hour AM. Send us out with some good thoughts, Wyatt. What are you thinking right now?
What am I thinking right now? I'm thinking I got class at 1.
Yeah. Nap time?
I'm going to go take a nap before class at 1. So let's see.
Do you allow your dog to sleep in the bed?
Yeah.
The best feeling ever is when I'm laying there and my big ass dog comes and like lays from like my butt down to my feet and like curls his body like just like around my like around my legs. Dude,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is freaking amazing. And for anybody that knows, my dog is the most spoiled dog ever, and he like uses his ass to like sit right, and he's sitting here like here now, and he's giving me the look is like either give me a pup cup or it's time for bed. So you figure it out, man. But, all right, guys, we are going to be out for today. Join us tomorrow, 7 a.m. East Coast time. I am planning on doing a live show tonight, so if you guys want to jump in about 7:45, 8 o'clock East Coast time, I am planning on it. That is to be announced here, obviously, just depending on how things go throughout the day. So, Wyatt, we'll see you tomorrow, 7 a.m. East Coast time, right here on youtube.com/Man Hour. Guys, have a great day and a better tomorrow. And remember, Wyatt has the best head of hair in all sports talk radio, hands down.